Welcome to the universe in a seashell, the podcast dedicated to science, life, and girl power. I'm Kara Bartek and I'm your host. I'm a PhD, an author, and I want to make this world a more equal and opportune place, one girl at a time. Welcome to the podcast. This is Kara and I'm your host. And today I am joined by two lovely co-hosts, Cece and Penny.
Hi.
Hi.
Penny, are you going to beep into the microphone?
No.
No? Are you going to talk loud for us?
Yes.
That wasn't very loud.
This morning she's been beeping.
Beeping?
We figured out she beeps when she's tired. So she'll be beeping if she gets tired on this podcast, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So come prepared if she beeps.
It's kind of like the low battery signal warning, right?
Mom.
Is that when you beep?
Yes.
Okay, guys. Well, welcome to the Universe in a Seashell, the podcast all about empowering girls in science. And today we've got a really exciting topic. In fact, we're going to be having some amazing topics all the way until mid-August, which is the Perseid's meteor shower. Now, one of the things that I love doing the most is watching the night sky. It's a great way to learn about nature, but hey, it's really fun. Don't you think, Cece?
It really is fun.
Can I ask you something?
Okay.
Stars have shooting stars, and they are pretty. And when they shoot in the sky, and you look in the moon, and it's a blood moon.
Yeah, we've watched blood moons, haven't we, Penny?
Yes.
Sky watching is one of our most favorite activities. Number one, because when we do sky watching, what is that special routine that we do?
This is kind of weird, but we do it. Mommy says, do you want to go to the bakery and get some donuts? And we always say yes. So then we lay out a really thick blanket and we go outside and watch the stars and eat donuts.
Yes. So obviously sky watching, in particular nighttime star watching, it happens at crazy hours, which is very appropriate for donuts. It's either really late at night or really early in the morning. No matter what, it requires us to set an alarm, doesn't it? To kind of get up. Especially, okay, do you remember the last time we saw that blood moon eclipse? What was that, like 1 or 2 in the morning?
I thought it was 3 in the morning.
'Cause our friends come over at Clan Lucy.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We were having a sleepover that night.
Oh, yeah. That night that we saw that blood moon, we were having a sleepover with our friends.
Yeah.
Because their parents were doing something.
Yeah, so it's a really fun activity, and I strongly encourage all of my super cool scientist girlfriends out there to watch the night sky. And what Cece, Penny, and I are going to be talking about today, and up until the Perseid meteor shower, which is going to be happening mid-August, we're going to be talking about all things in the sky. We're going to be talking about the moon. We're going to be talking about the constellations. We're going to be talking about shooting stars, right? Penny, do you love shooting stars?
Yes.
Do you make wishes on shooting stars?
Yes. You do when you make wishes when a shooting star is shooting through the sky.
That's right. But today, I want to cover the basics of how to use Star Watch safely and effectively, because that's the number one thing, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we've already covered the necessities. Is you've got to have sweets.
Well, I don't really get a donut. I get 2 of these sugar cookies, and they're pink with
Snacks are key, right?
Can I tell you something? When we were when Mommy waked us from the blood moon, we were watching Carmen San Diego.
I don't think that's right. We've been watching Carmen Sandiego all this summer. But anyway, in all seriousness, so star watching does happen at night, right? It's really important that you have a clear vantage point, which is going to require you to go outside, and probably at an hour that's either super, super late or super, super early. So first and foremost, you got to talk to your folks about doing this. This is not something that you can do on your own. How do you think I'd feel about you going outside at 2 or 3 in the morning by yourself, Cece?
If we were still in the city, you would say no.
Even though we're out in the country, though, it's a huge no-no because we kind of have wild animals, and we've got coyotes, we've got pigs, we've got all kinds of things. So you definitely have to have your parents' permission to do these things. And guess what? I have a feeling that your parents would probably want to do these activities with you.
Well, we have charging cows, hogs, coyotes. We have everything, and especially charging cows.
And hogs.
Yes, absolutely.
We saw
But
a mama with like 5 babies.
oh, the pigs?
Yeah.
Yes.
And our dog scared them, so.
It was kind of crazy. But so, Cece, do you have any tips on how the folks listening to the podcast could talk to their parents about wanting to go outside and watch the stars?
Okay, if you want to go outside and you have to have your parents' permission, and you have to have your parents' permission. You have to have your parents' permission.
Look at you following all the rules. That's not normally your style.
Well, you have to follow
Can I tell you something? We have deer, and I saw one in the deer in the tall grass.
Do you have any tips for asking your parents to go outside and watch the sky? Because that's what Cece was talking about. Let's let Cece finish, and then I need to hear what your tips are, okay, Penny? Okay, Cece, what are your tips? How could you talk to your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa about going outside at like a crazy hour, and you're obviously going to need a blanket and some donuts? How do you talk to them about that?
beg them.
Yeah, but again, safety and permission is key. That's first and foremost. You're gonna have to go to a place where you can actually see the sky. Now we're out here in the country now, but light pollution was a big deal for us, right, Cece?
Because when we lived in Corpus, every night that we went outside, there was this big factory that like burned off gas. And the lights outside was so bad that whenever we used our telescope, I thought I actually saw the sun, but guess what? It was just a lamp.
Yeah, so you have to, again, after you get your parents' permission, you talk to them and you let them know, hey, I want to check out the sky this summer because I'm listening to this really awesome podcast, Universe in a Seashell, and the hosts have some cool tips on things that are going to be going on in the sky, and I want to go out there and see them, which, by the way, in the description of this podcast, I have your very own star watching kit that you can download. Check out the links, sign up for my mailing list, and you guys will get your very own star watching kit. Be sure to look out for that. So anyway, so you have to make sure that you find a good vantage point for watching the stars, right? So when we were in our house there in Corpus Christi, it was kind of the front yard because it seemed like there wasn't a lot of street lamps on that side of the house, and also the bugs weren't so bad right there, right?
Yeah, but if we went in the back, the lights were bad, and the other bad thing was the bugs.
And then the fences were kind of high.
So we had to go,
That's a great description there.
And we wanted to get over the fence, and we wanted to meet our friends, but we couldn't.
Yeah, so Penny would very often climb the fence in an unauthorized fashion. But anyway, so number one, you've got to ask your parents for permission. Number two, you've got to find a good place that you can actually see the stars. Now, again, that's going to require visibility. You've got to look out for things like high fences if you're going to be laying on the ground. You've got to be checking out, if you're in the city, where lampposts are at or where other sources of light pollution might be, and try to find that place in the sky that it won't be obstructed by the light pollution. Okay, now Cece came up and she talked a little bit about the third consideration, which is bugs, grass, and all of the other things that can really be a bummer while you're trying to watch the stars. So for us in Texas, mosquitoes are,
Awful.
it's
They're
like,
just awful.
they're like the
Yeah.
size of birds, right?
They're ginormous.
And flies are not ginormous, and the mosquitoes.
So you've got to make sure that you've got some bug spray on, right? That's key for us. That's kind of how we keep bugs away. We try to keep the grass short, which also helps with the bugs. But number one, you got to make sure that you put on the bug spray, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And especially at night, the mosquitoes come out, and if it's like a blood moon and you come out, you have to have a bug spray.
Can I tell you something? Last time we had this bug spray, but we have to keep on buying it, and it was so boring. And
Yes.
we don't have bug spray anymore.
We've got a little bug spray left, but we go through it pretty often. So you've got to ask your folks if it's cool. You've got to find a good place to watch the sky. And you also have to protect yourself. So you've got to have your bug spray. You've also got to have a nice either set of chairs, a thick blanket, something that's going to make you comfortable while sitting outside and watching the sky. Because a lot of times it takes a while to see what you want to see, whether or not it's a lunar eclipse, or maybe a meteor shower, or maybe there's a particular constellation that you're wanting to watch rise. You've got to be willing to sit there and have the patience, right? So what's one of your preferred sitting and observing the sky devices? Do you prefer the chair or the blanket, Penny? Penny's thinking.
A blanket.
You like the blanket?
Yeah, I agree with Penny. The blanket is more comfortable.
Yeah, I like laying down, and then too, your eyes can really focus up on the sky, right?
You can like lay on your back with your arms out.
Now here's a disclaimer. When you're going around your house trying to find the blanket to lay down and watch the stars, please, please, please don't pull your mom's favorite comforter off of her bed. Or yours. I have a feeling you're definitely going to get in trouble.
Definitely get in trouble.
Get an old blanket. See, I feel like this is something that you've tried to do, Cece. You're looking at me pretty guiltily.
I've never tried to pull your comforter off of your bed.
Okay, what did I catch you doing the other day? Were you or were you not doing gymnastics on your blankets? On the floor?
They weren't my comforters. They were just blankets.
That doesn't make it any better. It doesn't make it any better.
Can I tell you something? If you lay on the floor, it's going to get dirty.
Exactly. See? Now, once you start doing some heavy duty laundry, then we'll talk about you pulling those blankets off, right? Anyway. Okay, so we've got to make sure we've got permission. We've got to find a good vantage point. We've got to have the right thing to protect yourself. Bug spray, a nice soft blanket, maybe some chairs. And then you've got to figure out how you want to look at the sky. Now, Cece, you've got a telescope.
But it's packed. So.
It is, yes. We're in the middle of building a house, so we're in a rental house, and a lot of our stuff is packed up, which is a total bummer, isn't it?
But the things that, but some few devices besides a telescope that I prefer to use is a compass.
Okay. That helps you find the constellations, right?
And
Like if sailors back then used compasses to vote.
Yeah, they used the stars were a big part of their navigation, right? Kind of where the constellations were at. It tells you, when the sun's not out, it'll tell you where north, south, east, west are depending on the season.
can I tell you something? If mommy turns on the constellation, there's bears and stuff, and there's a big dot, and we saw it, and we look at fireworks, and we saw a lot of fireworks.
Yeah, on the 4th of July, we were kind of sky watching in between the fireworks show. And we're going to talk about the specifics of what's in the sky on some of our later podcasts for sure. Cuz that was Jupiter that we were looking at, right?
We saw Jupiter. We saw a constellation that looked like a dragon, the Big Dipper.
Yeah,
The Big Dip.
The sky is full of all kinds of cool things.
Yeah.
So okay, so back to what we watch the sky with. So Cece said that you can use a compass to figure out what part of the sky is going to hold what constellation. But you know what? I've never been a huge telescope person. I prefer just to look at the sky as is, just with my eyes. What do you guys think?
We look with a telescope. I'll look for a telescope.
But what if you don't have a telescope?
You can just look with your eyes, and if you don't have a compass, same thing for that.
So you don't have to have a bunch of fancy equipment, is the bottom line, right?
Yeah, you don't.
Can I tell you something? We found a bear one. And a pterodactyl one. They found a pterodactyl one, Mommy.
When Penny grows up to be an astronomer, I think that she's going to name one of her constellations after a pterodactyl. Is that correct?
Yes.
So those are my main tips for star watching. That's what I've got. So number 1, you've got to ask for your parents' permission. Number 2, you've got to make sure you've got a great place to see the sky. Number 3, you got to protect yourself. You need to have bug spray. You've got to have a comfortable chair, a comfortable blanket. And number 4, you've got to know what you're going to be looking with, right? Now, the final thing that you need is the star watching kit, right? That we're going to be putting in the description of this episode. Now, what are we going to be talking about in our podcast to come leading up into the Perseid's meteor shower? What are we going to be talking about? What do you guys want to talk about in the night sky? What are your favorite things?
Shooting stars, comets, and stuff and it makes the shapes of the stars. But we saw one moving a star, but it looks like aliens, doing
Aliens. What about you, Cece? What are your favorite things in the sky?
My favorite things that I want to cover on one of the episodes is all of the planets.
Okay.
And how they orbit.
Okay. I like that. What's your favorite planet?
My favorite planet is Saturn.
Cool. My favorite planet is, and I think if you get a high-powered enough telescope, you can see those rings. It's pretty cool.
And you can see all the dust and the snow.
What do you think about talking about the moon and all the phases?
That would be really cool.
Okay, so we've got some amazing ideas, but first and foremost, you got to know how to skywatch. Remember, Number 1, ask your folks. Number 2, find a great place. Make sure you're protecting yourself with bug spray. Gotta get a nice comfortable blanket, some good chairs, and then you gotta figure out what you're gonna be watching the sky with. And last but not least, do not forget to download your very own star watching kit. Look in the description of this podcast episode and you'll be able to download it. So remember, if you guys have any questions, comments, you just want to drop us a line, send us an email at universeinaseashell@gmail.com. Again, that's universeinaseashell@gmail.com. Penny's over here throwing a fit. Come here, Penny. What do you want to say into the microphone? Give us some beeps, Penny. Give us some beeps.
Caca, caca, caca.
Thanks, guys.